John Dewey, considered to be the father of modern education, his emphasis on progressive education has contributed greatly to the use of experimentation rather than an authoritarian approach to knowledge. Dewey insisted in his pamphlet, The School and Society, very controversial, that the old model of schooling, students sitting in rows, memorizing and reciting, was antiquated. Mind you, this was in 1899. So, here are Technolandy's 3 things that everyone ought to know about John Dewey. First, he insisted that school must represent present life, not what we wish it were, but as it is. Also, he reminded his educational disciples that students should not be allowed to do whatever they please, that planning an organization must accompany freedom, and that teachers should be the guides as well as subject matter experts. Secondly, Dewey's reforms, which are very hands-on, tended to rarely extend into secondary schools, and in one of his books, Democracy and Education, ended up being listed as one of the most dangerous books published in the past 200 years, as even President Eisenhower blamed Dewey's methodologies as to why the Russians were winning the space race with the launch of Sputnik. And the third part that I think is still neat is that one of his ongoing criticisms that there are many contemporary teachers who have not heard of John Dewey. As one person said, I have not met one who has read his works, except reluctantly. A good idea that maybe we do need to reflect on his writings and who he was as an educational philosopher as well. And as a bonus one, I thought it was very neat that Dewey's favorite poet was also one of my favorites, Robert Browning, who was likewise gained greater fame for his work after death, as opposed to Robert's wife, who was very famous and popular while she was alive, but has become less famous over the years while Robert keeps going on. One of his favorite quotes, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp. And that's a great reminder. Let's keep reaching for what we can do in education. Because as Dewey said about education in general, if I were asked to name the most needed of all reforms in the spirit of education, I should say, cease conceiving of education as mere preparation for later life and make it full meaning of present life. I think that's a great aim that we can still follow today. Look a little bit more into John Dewey. He's done a lot of stuff that we are doing today. Those are 3 thoughts I had when thinking about John Dewey.